Hey everybody, how's it going? Sorry I've been out for a while. I was on vacation on a cruise. I'm also getting an Assassin's Creed Mirage dissected video where we're going to talk about the parkour, how it relates to Assassin's Creed Shadows, and kind of compare the two because that's a very interesting subject. If you like Assassin's Creed or if you're into that kind of video game, you're not going to want to miss that episode. Make sure you subscribe. However, today we're going to be talking about the RAM prices. A lot of people are panicking about the RAM prices. I'm even saying that the GPU prices are going to follow, and then PC gaming is over and we're not going to have a gaming industry anymore because prices will be super high forever and ever. We won't be able to afford computers anymore. Now, the truth, as always, is more in the middle. There are some things that have changed, but that doesn't make PC or gaming dead. That doesn't make hardware unaffordable. And we're going to talk about whether you should go buy right now or wait a little bit longer. So let's get started. All right, so the past few days, we've seen that RAM prices have gone up. And yes, in fact, they are much higher than RAM prices at the beginning of the year. Some people are saying like, look, RAM prices are even higher than a console, so might as well just get a console, which those are console shells that are saying that if you're going to, the PC experience is a different experience than the console experience. And the thing that I find interesting is when people do a comparison between, oh, look at this RAM is so high. It so happens that the RAM that they are showing is 64 gigabytes and it's kind of on the higher end of the clock, which if you just play video games on your PC, you don't need either of those. 32 gigs of RAM is more than enough for your computer, and as you can see, 32 gigs of RAM, while it is high right now, it is still affordable. Even if you're going to get 16 gigs of RAM, like if you already have 16, you want to upgrade, you want to get 16 more, it's still somewhat affordable. Again, it's not as cheap as it used to be a little bit ago, but it's still within the realm of possibility. It's not going to affect PC gaming. And the other part that most of the people that I see posting this do not understand is most of us who play on PC have rigs that can withstand several years in the future. The reason why I say this is because nowadays hardware is way beyond software in terms of video games because consoles are so behind. The PS4, the PS5 and the PS5 Pro are really outdated consoles in terms of the hardware that is in them. So games are created for the most part for those consoles, and I think the Series X is probably behind that. So us PC gamers are fine. If you had what I would call an average rig, which is kind of like an Intel or an AMD quad core or 8 core that's from maybe 2019, and you have 16 gigs of RAM and you have a decent GPU, you should be fine for at least 3 more years. The other thing that I saw a lot was people were saying like, well, because RAM prices are going up, that means that GPU prices are gonna go up because GPU uses RAM, and that is actually not true. In fact, the RAM that's being used is more likely to affect storage than GPU. So if anything, you should just get more storage if you don't have enough. And if you want a deeper explanation of why GPUs are not gonna be affected, I highly recommend you go watch this J2Sense video where he talks about it. The TLDR is that the RAM that goes on GPUs is different than the actual RAM stick. So it's apples and oranges. So one is not going to affect the other. Now, what do I think about this whole AI hugging all the hardware and hardware being probably out of stock because it's probably going to happen, and hardware going up in price? This has happened before. I was old enough when the mining craze happened. And when the mining craze happened, you couldn't find a GPU anywhere. It was very hard. Unless you were buying it from a scalper or buying it used, it was ridiculous to get a GPU. What I mean by this is the prices going up is not going to be forever. And if it's going to last, it's probably not going to last as long as people are thinking it's going to last. It's probably going to be a year or two at most, probably less than a year. A lot of companies are just FOMOing around the AI and building data centers. Some of those companies are building data centers, meaning they're just going to be passing money around and probably won't end up building anything. And in the end, all you have to do is wait. If you panic and you go out and buy stuff right now because it's going to, according to people on social media, get more expensive in the future, you are just going to be paying higher prices because of FOMO. So if you have a decent enough rig, I would wait. If you have a rig that can get you mid settings and you can still play at 60 frames per second, I would wait, because prices will go back to normal. It has happened before. Will console prices go up? Yeah, very likely. But the beauty is that if you don't have to upgrade your computer right now, you are not losing, you are not missing out on anything. And honestly, I would wait before you decide to upgrade, unless you need a computer right now for whatever reason, maybe work reasons. So a lot of people are saying like, well, this is not like crypto, because crypto was individuals doing mining and this is corporations, and corporations are bigger. During the crypto craze, entire countries were mining. Countries in Latin America, countries in the Middle East, in Asia, entire countries were mining. So this is just like crypto. Right now it's corporations and a little bit of the government, because I think the US government's gonna want into that. It's not that different. Also, there's going to be a limit on what they can build. It's not like they're going to build data centers ad infinitum and there will never be hardware for anyone else. That is another ridiculous thing that I've seen around. So let me know what you think about that. What are your thoughts on this RAM AI stuff going on? Remember to subscribe. That Assassin's Creed video is coming very soon. Leave me a like, leave me a comment. It goes a long way to helping the channel. Again, thank you so much for listening to me all the way to this point, and I'll see you in the next one.